Hello magical souls, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new here, my name is Lydia and I am the Witch of Multi-Realms. In the previous episode, I spoke about going through the dark night of the soul. And this is usually brought on when somebody finds themselves going through a prolonged period of denial. And this denial can be either the person on the receiving end or the person being on the opposite end of the denial. Now, when I say prolonged period, this highly depends on the different individuals facing such a situation and their tolerance for emotional, psychological, and/or physical suffering. As the common nature of being in denial is mostly on a subconscious level, this also poses a hindrance for a person to face the truth. Much of your emotional turmoil is brought on by your unwillingness to be radically honest with yourself or others. Things such as repressing, denying, lying, manipulation, shame, and hiding behind guilt and regret can be extremely exhausting for the psyche. Here are some of the reasons why somebody might find themselves wanting to go through the denial, but instead of coming out to face the truth. To start with, generally, to face the truth, especially if the person is coming from a place of vulnerability, if they come out with the truth, they much rather hide from it, hide the difficult emotions and feelings that they will encounter exponentially as they come out with the truth. They would much rather than hide it and be in denial. And this could mean that they see the long-term effects of what happened. Actually, it's not long-term, it's rather short-term if you think about it. They see the short-term effects of coming out to the truth, which is having to go through a very chaotic, condensed, perhaps turbulent period to resolve this issue with one or more than one parties, and then having to change a certain status quo. All these are going to throw the individual into the deep end of the water. Basically, this is very, very difficult for some people. And some other reasons could be if that person subconsciously knows that the truth is a very harsh reality and they are not ready to accept the truth. So the feeling of being in denial is a form of, it's a survival mechanism. It's a way to pacify their nerves. It is so much easier to live from day to day, telling themselves everything is okay, everything is all right. Perhaps it will change over time, wanting and wishing that it will change over time, but they actually feel rather helpless. And in this helplessness, they much rather sweep it under the rug, so to speak, and not face the truth and not challenge it. And another way to see this is if somebody is going through a period of bad behaviors, or they always have had this bad behavior, perhaps in their character trait, perhaps it is a trauma, a response that they picked up since young, and they are easily triggered to behave a certain way, or perhaps even a form of addiction. And this addiction does not necessarily have to be substances. It could also be addictive behavior of a certain sort. And so to change these behaviors, to change these addictions, it takes a lot more work. It takes a lot more working against the grain, swimming against the current. And this kind of activity means that the person has to really put themselves through a disciplined and responsible period of time in order to make it work. So all in all, it is somehow easier to not go through it, of course, if the person has not really the intention and the determination to go through it. So they much rather stall it and not admit to the truth. Sometimes, or diminishing the truth to the extent like, oh, maybe this is just the way I am. If you don't take me for what it is too bad. Sometimes this is the kind of thinking that they might have. But the truth is, you have an issue, you need to fix it, or else you never get yourself a proper relationship, you never anchor down yourself to a decent, committed job, you will never finish your studies and graduate. These are all the different scenarios. Or you never be able to keep a friend, you never be able to have good relationships with your family. It could be anything along these lines. If a person chooses to hide from the truth of their own character problems. And also, not forgetting, in general, some individuals might perceive that having to work through facing the truth and coming out the denial, it involves many parties. Sometimes this is caused by if they find that they are in certain kind of social construct or cultural construct whereby coming out to face the truth might pose huge emotional conflict and difficulty with the people that surrounds them, and they do love these people. And so in this case, somehow they choose to put other people's priority and expectations above their own. And in this case, the idea of having to fight through it, having to, again, is the same concept of having to work against the grain. It is more stressful, and it might even send some individuals into a panic attack to think about what happens if I come out and tell the truth, or accept that there is a truth and I'm in denial, right? So if they were to imagine, again, whether it's a short-term or long-term period of having to fight for it and having to perhaps isolate themselves from certain individuals in their life whom they deeply care about, it might scare them more. It might really stress them out. So they much rather not go through that stress. They much rather not think about it, right? So that's essentially one of the very, very strong reasons why a person wants to stay in denial. At the end of the day, if someone is, whether subconsciously or consciously, truly unhappy about the status quo, and that there is a truth behind their life that they are hiding, and they might hide it. They might hide it for as long as they wish to, but it is ultimately a kind of slow death. Because no matter how much you lie to yourself, the truth is there. I liken this to if you know how to swim. Okay, no matter how good or how elementary your swimming skills are, if you know how to swim, and if I put you in water where your feet cannot touch the ground, I think the automatic response of anybody who knows how to swim is at least to tread water or really swim, like get into a swimming stroke and swim to keep themselves alive. You cannot unalive yourself. You cannot deliberately not swim. The mechanism of your body's instincts to survive is there. It will just keep coming back like, no, you cannot not swim. You can swim. That's just how it works. Right? So this is what truth does to you. Truth is a constant that will not go away no matter how much you deny it. You can hide it, you can ignore it, you can delay it. But at the end of the day, once truth is there and you are aware of it to a certain degree, you cannot hide from it. So thereby, to run, to hide, to ignore it is simply delaying the process and that prolonging that pain and suffering. And it is a form of slow death. Now, with all these being said, all of us will face one time or multiple times where our truths are being challenged. And this can come at any phase of our lives, depending on the soul contracts, the karmic debts, and the path that our soul has chosen to take pre-reincarnation. And plus, one more wildcard factor, which is the aspect of free will. When you are finally living this life on earth, the free will that you have allows you to choose what kind of decision you can make in order to sculpt the various destination you want to head to, which sometimes can sidetrack you. Okay, but sidetracking is not the problem. Sidetracking in the perspective of living a person's life, if let's say you are living your true purpose and then you are walking a straight line, sidetracking simply means that you are given this opportunity to stray from the main line and go into some form of challenging situation. And in order to learn and evolve from that situation and get wiser, have some introspection, and you can then bring yourself back to the main path of purpose. Thereby, sidetracking is not a problem. So having denial and being challenged with facing your truth and all this kind of moments, it's like a sidetrack. Therefore, to come into awareness that you are in some form of denial, and then to be radically honest with yourself, to come out and face the truth, no matter the kind of adversity that you might face or are already facing. In this instance, your higher self, the universe, your spiritual team will come and join their forces to back you up. Because this is their way of acknowledging that you are now reclaiming your sovereignty. By standing for your truth and being brave against all odds, you send out your intentions on an energetic level to the cosmos. And this is like sounding the horns to the heavens, asking for reinforcements. Now you need to understand that truth and justice works hand in hand and there is no biasness. Once the truth is out and is on the table, anybody who needs to be questioned and pay and be responsible for the actions they have taken that surrounds this truth will have to face it. And that, of course, includes you if you know that you have been on the end of being unfair to somebody, and vice versa. This is all part and parcel of going through the dark night of the soul, whereby you are hurled into the fire and you're tested for your self-belief, your integrity, your inner strength, your tenacity, and your humility. And when you come out triumphant, the transmutation would have burned away the impurities of your shadow self, things that are shrouding your perspective, character traits that are causing you more harm than good in your evolution journey. And this all, in the transmutation process, aims to bring out more evolution in your soul and wisdom as you go through this journey. And so the reward for going through this is that you will rise out of the fire and the ashes like a phoenix reborn. What does this look like in real life? We're talking about at this point, you would have known yourself more on the deeper soul level, which means you will probably be more aligned with your purposeful path. When you know yourself very well, you will also understand all the lights and all the shadows that you have. You will not be projecting on others, unknowingly, subconsciously, any traits that you have that you probably were not aware of in the beginning. Knowing oneself also brings to you other individuals who can accept you for being you. And this includes not only social circles that you're surrounded with, but also the potential, if you're single or you're looking for love, the potential of looking for that soulmate or that twin flame. Now, twin flame is in itself a very big subject, which I might start a separate video one day, but simply put, you will come into union with somebody that is connected with you on a more soul level. Knowing oneself and knowing the truth of oneself is a virtue that not only makes a more beautiful life for yourself, helps you manifest the dream life that you want, but because of this energetic signal that you're sending out to the rest of the world, the ones that are connected and aligned with you will also come towards you. You no longer have to constantly wonder and fight and try or search for who are my people, who will accept me, where am I going to be, what kind of society do I belong in, or what kind of relationship do I belong in, what kind of people are going to love me. You no longer have to ask yourself this sort of weird questions because it was never meant to be this way. Once you know who you are and you behave the authentic way that you are in your truth, what is yours will come to you. That is how the universe rewards you for coming out to your truth and standing for your authenticity. Now, I hope this has helped you in some way in your soul evolution and your spiritual journey. Until the next time, hope to see you again. Take care and goodbye.